Here we go. First, we need to put a mold release on the clay form. In this case, I'm using Vaseline over every part of the clay model. And then some plastic wrap. The plastic wrap needs to cover every little piece of clay. So you can cut it in parts in order to make sure that air doesn't get trapped in and change the shape of your piece, or even some clear tape to help put it down in places. With the paper mache, I pre-cut, or I should say pre-rip all of my paper ahead of time. I like brown paper bag because it's thick enough where I can get away pretty much with just one layer. I also pre-rip a lot of small little pieces so that I can get into those small folds and secondary contours such as the bridge of that nose. And now the adhesive that I am using is a wallpaper covering, wallpaper adhesive. And I get that at the hardware store. You can buy it dried or pre-mixed. I'm using a tool here to help press the paper mache into the form where there's smaller detail. And I've pre-ripped a bunch of smaller pieces of paper, of course, ahead of time for that. So I like using this type of adhesive, the wallpaper paste. Of course, you can use diluted white glue, and you can make your own wallpaper, you can make your own paper mache paste with 2 parts water, 1 part flour. And keep that in the refrigerator in between working with it. Here you can use a paintbrush to apply the paper mache on as well, if you happen to be someone who hates having their hands wet and sticky all of the time. So once you're done, you need to let it dry for 24 hours. And in most cases, you need to cut the form apart in at least 2 pieces in order to remove the hollow form casting from the original form. A box cutter works well for that, but I found those small scissors, those sort of bathroom type scissors, to work as well too. I'm using the flashlight there to try to see where there might be really thin spots where I might have to add a little bit more paper mache. And then I reconstruct the form using hot glue and a stapler. If you can hot glue in the inside, it is more ideal. But if you have to do the outside like this, use a tool and really smash down that hot glue so that it doesn't change the outside shape at all when it comes time to doing a new paper mache over the seam to hide that seam, or else it could change the shape a little bit, and no matter what, you'll still always see that seam. So once that's back together, you just simply add 1 more layer of that paper mache over the seam. You can see, I can see a little bit of that seam on that one there where I didn't get that hot glue down quite flat enough. But I have found that just 1 layer of paper mache over that seam seems to work just fine. So after this, covering up that seam, just let it dry again. And once you come back to it, you have this really lightweight form, hollow casting, that you can work with for a larger sculpture. I love it.